Okay, so yeah, I'm going to talk about Gatsby tonight. Who here has heard of Gatsby? Okay, like 20-ish% or so, let's say. Yeah, as was introduced, Gatsby is a project that I've been working on, and it uses GraphQL under the hood to power all of the kind of data querying and data fetching and so forth. And you know, tagline, the blazing fast static site generator for React. So it uses React for everything. And it also has kind of like a full Webpack setup under the hood. So you get, Babel, modern JavaScript, modern CSS, etc. So and it's kind of like similar like Create React App in that sense, that you can install it and just start building React things without worrying about setup. Yeah. But anyways, so first in this talk, I'm going to give a little introduction to Gatsby, just kind of the basics of it, and then we'll kind of dive into how it uses GraphQL, because I think it's pretty interesting, and it's really fun too, just seeing the growth of GraphQL, because it's like, Gatsby is a fairly small project, like manpower-wise, but we get to like leverage all the cool things that other people are doing with GraphQL for kind of our use case. So yeah, so if we go down here, how Gatsby works. So basically what it lets you do is, so Gatsby is plugin driven, and it lets you install source plugins, which then pull in data from like pretty much anywhere. You can do it from like kind of normal static site sources like Markdown or whatever, but you can also pull data from CMSs, from APIs, from databases. Actually been talking to some contributors about potentially having a generic GraphQL source plugin, so that kind of similar to what Sasko was talking about, that any GraphQL schema could just be pulled in and used for static site generation. But anyways, and then you write GraphQL queries in your components, and like data is then bundled together with React and JavaScript and CSS, and then put out to static files, which you can then deploy on different static web hosts. Kind of the getting started instructions, that we have a CLI that you can install. And then it has like a Gatsby new. So we have this concept of starters that basically partially built Gatsby sites that you can install. And so we'll play around with the default starter, just see how that looks. So here on the command line, I'll just type, actually, yeah, so we'll just run Gatsby develop, and it starts up the server. And then now it's running Webpack dev server. Cool. So then if we switch over here and restart, yeah. So this is kind of the default Gatsby starter. And I need to put this down to do live coding. So I'll just be my co-presenter. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. So if we go to the terminal and we open up Vim, and so this is the source, the directories in a kind of a minimal Gatsby site. And it's pretty small. You have like a package.json, you have a Gatsby config file, and then node modules course, and then public is where sites are built to. Then if we open up source, there's layouts, which is like React components that kind of like set outside of pages, and then actual pages. And pages are just React components. And so if you open up this one, it's like an extremely simple component, like, hi people, welcome to that, whatever. So we'd say like, hi GraphQL NYC, add exclamation point for funsies. Has hot reloading built in, so that just works. We have a page 2. So we can like do the same thing. Whatever. And it's really trivial to add new pages because they are just components. And like if you add a new component, then where that component is in the file system turns into a page. So if I just did another page. So if I create a link to another page, oh, right. Anyways, that didn't work out. Okay, anyways. So it says, hey, there's not a page yet. Then it has instruction says, if you just create a new page at source pages and other page.js. So let's do that. Anyway, save that, and then I'll hot reload that in. So you can like scaffold out a site really easily and just add new pages and do whatever. And it's all just normal React stuff. It's like completely vanilla React, so you can import open source components and put them in and yada yada. And what's cool is like you can build out, this kind of like single page app, but then when you build it, it gets put out to a static site where each page, has like an HTML version, and like it loads super quickly and then pulls in the JavaScript to make it, kind of back to a React web app. So that's cool. But we're at a GraphQL meetup, not a React meetup, though. They are kind of joined at the hip, so probably there's a lot of crossover. But anyways, so where's the GraphQL stuff come in? So if you go to any Gatsby development server and you add go to ___ GraphQL, what do we behold? Why, it's our dear friend GraphQL. Everyone's favorite friend. And then you're like, whoa, I got GraphQL running under the hood somehow. So in a very basic site, without any like data plugins that you've added, there's not much going on here. So we have like a site node basically, and you can like see some different stuff. You can see site metadata, the port it's running on, not perhaps super useful, but who knows? Somebody might use that someday. Anyways, there's just like different kind of default stuff. Build time, boom. And there's also kind of fun too, this all site page thing. So you can actually get like the path for every page introspection. So that's where, so if you have like this development, if we go to like a fake page, that's where this page is generated. Like it just like queries the pages, so forth. Anyways, so that's cool. But let's look at a little more involved example. So let's jump over to my blog. So this was the very first trivia. This is the very first Gatsby site, and kind of often serves as a test bed for new features. Anyways, it's pretty simple. Not too much going on here. We have this header, we have a long list of posts, and then that's about it. And like you click on one, I can give you a break actually. I will do some live coding later if you don't mind jumping up. Yeah, I can. You just keep going? Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. We could like hold his arm or something. Anyways, so we have a blog post, and then like, oh, there's tags, and you like click on a tag, open source, some other post, and you click on that. There's syntax highlighting. Some of them have images. You can click browse all tags, and you see this list of, every tag and like the count of how many there is on each tag, et cetera, et cetera. And what's cool is all of this is like powered by React and GraphQL queries. So I'm not like hand typing any of this stuff. It's like, it's basically what GraphQL gives Gatsby is essentially a database for your data, so that you can like query it like you'd query a database, but then that gets turned into a static site. So let's look at like a few of these pages, see how they work. So where did I have my blog open? Oh, there. Okay, here we go. So if we open up this, it's kind of the same. It has a source, more stuff, and has a components directory, not much in there. Some CSS, some images, layouts, all the pages. templates, whatever. Yeah, so let's just jump into the front page. So if we look at a front page, again, it's like, we're importing some different stuff, React element, this Gatsby link, kind of a wrapper around React routers link component to add some extra Gatsby specific stuff. We're importing like my profile pic. Then we have a render and like anyways, do a bunch of stuff. But anyways, down at the bottom, we now see something familiar, which is a GraphQL query. And this GraphQL query, it's querying, that site object that we saw earlier. So it's getting like the title, author, home city. And then it has this thing called all markdown remark, which is kind of a relay style connection type thing. It says limit 2000. Hopefully I never write that many posts. Has like the sort thing, has this filter thing, it has edges, nodes, and for each node it gets a slug and then the title. So if we go back here, there's a title, and then there's obviously it's linking down there to the actual post, like so. And so the sort thing's interesting. So it has, it says sort and the fields, and it's saying it's sorting by front matter date. So if you're familiar with Markdown, there's front matter, like the top kind of like metadata about each Markdown post. And so it's sorting on the date, and it's doing descending order. So if we change that to ascending, save that up here. Don't fail me now. Why is it not working? Well, it should have hot reloaded. But anyways, there you go. So now it's first post. But if it's going to hot reload this time. It should be hot reloading. Oh, there it goes. Very delayed. But yeah, so you can see it's actually running the query and outputting the data and pulling it into the React component and so forth. Then if we go to a post, so this is in a template. So Gatsby has this concept of templates. So like every page type that, it can reuse the same component for all of them. So if we go here, we have the component, does some stuff, has a tag section, blah, 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 blah. And we jump down to the bottom, and we see queries blog post by slug, and we see that a slug is passed in as an argument. And then again, we're doing some like site metadata. And then here we have markdown remark. So we're not querying, a connection. We're just querying for a single markdown node, and we're querying it based on like the slug. So we use the slug to pick out the individual thing, and then we pick out the HTML for the post. We get an excerpt of the post, fields, front matter, et cetera, and then that comes out here. One of those things that we get here is like tag slugs. And so that's where these come from. And we look at tag page, simpler component to some extent, but again, another thing. But here we're jumping back to a connection. An important part here is the filter. So we pass in the tag for that page as a variable. And the filter here, we have this like MongoDB inspired operator here, where tags is an array, and then we say if the tag, if the tag for this page is in the array of tags in the markdown post, then then include it and so forth. So that filters down all the posts down to just the ones where the tag shows up. And if we do like pages tags, this is again all those. So we have this like group, basically a group by query operator, where you can say what is the field you're grouping by, and then you get the field value and the total count for each one. And so then in the component we just sort by the name of each thing, and then out pops this. So actually, wait. So yeah, so this is this it? Yeah. So this is GraphQL for my blog. So just kind of like go over this again a little bit. If we pop this up, you know, we have kind of like different node types. So we have like site, we have file, image, sharp, markdown, remark. So if we do this again, you know, you can see front matter has all these different things. So these are all the different posts. You know, has like excerpt. It's also cool too is you can do like the prune length for the excerpt. So you can say, you know, I want just 100, or I want 200. Then there's other stuff, headings. There's time to read, always popular. Anyways, a bunch of stuff that you'd like like stuff that you normally, like you're building something with Markdown, you'd like do custom scripting to pull that data out. It's just now available to query as you know, as you need it for a site. And then let's see what else is interesting here. Yeah. So yeah. So so all this stuff is like, what's really cool about this is that this is all kind of like happens automatically. So when you're starting a site with Gatsby, you don't have to set up the GraphQL schema. You don't have to like write out like, oh, I want Markdown, I want this, I want that, whatever. You actually just need to, generally speaking, you just need to install plugins, and then that just sort of happens automatically under the hood. So if we look at the blog's package.json, there's a bunch of packages here that I've installed. And can you guys read that? Is it mostly readable? Okay. So there's several types of plugins. There's like just kind of plugins that add functionality. So like a Google Analytics one, manifest.json, an offline one which adds a service worker, Preact, React Helmet. Then there's the source plugin. And so source plugins is what pulls in data from different sources. And then transformers are like, so file system source, it just like reads files off the file system. And then the transformers then like do something to it. So this remark one is basically what's powering all the remark, or all the markdown stuff. It's a markdown transformer API thing. And then the remark plugin also has a bunch of like sub plugins that you can install to add like additional functionality. So this is like copy link files. So if you like link to a PDF or something like that, it'll copy it into the build folder so that it gets deployed. Prism.js does highlighting. Responsive iframe, it does like say like a YouTube video or something like that. It'll like make sure that it's positioned correctly when you like shrink that up and down. This thing called it also does like it automatically processes images in your Markdown post to make them responsive, so on and so forth, like Smarty Pants, etc. Yeah, so kind of like the high-level goal is that most projects, it's kind of like the React part is now pretty straightforward in CSS, especially CSS and JS, whatever, you build components, you can post them together. It's all very straightforward. But most projects now, that kind of like getting data from like the place where it starts and then transforming it whatever way, and then getting into your component is the difficult part. And so Gatsby plugins kind of tries to solve that problem. Cool. So any questions so far, just about how stuff works? Yeah. So Gatsby's a bit unique. So most static site generators, they don't have like, I'll just hold it for a moment. Yeah, I'll give you a little break. Sorry. Thanks. So most static site generators, they don't like, they just generate the HTML on the server and then they're done. So Gatsby's unique in that, when you go here and like click on a page, it's all client side now. So Gatsby needs to load in the code and the data for each subsequent page. So anyways, so that's one of the main reasons for GraphQL is that, with GraphQL, we can say for each page, this is the exact data that's needed to run that page. And then we can write out, so we run the queries at build time, and like the results of each page's query gets written out as a JSON file. And then we can load that in into the browser as you're clicking around. So like every one of these pages, like it's actually prefetching the data and the code for each page, which like makes clicking around like almost instantaneous. Yeah, other questions? Okay. How long have I been going? I'm good. 5 more minutes. Okay. So, yeah, let me just show kind of again like how you can use GraphQL and React to kind of like quickly prototype and build stuff. Thanks. Okay, so this is another starter, just like the blog starter. And let's make the front page a little more interesting. So right now it's just like a list of posts, and like yeah, let's try some stuff. See if I can move this away. Okay. So again, if we go sources page and then index, we have up here, we have so yeah, we'll start the query. So down here we have, all markdown remark. We're just getting, again, every post, and we get the path and then the title for each one. And then up here, we generate this page links, which is right here. So let's not do a list, but let's just do headers. So we'll just make these like H4, and then H4, and then, okay, so let's make that our first thing. And I don't know why. Oh dear. There's what? Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Thanks. Okay. Let's try an H3 actually. So let's add like an excerpt. So instead of just having the title, we can add like a quick excerpt to it. So if we go down here, we can just say excerpts. And if we go up here, let's make this div. P and then dangerously set HTML. So what did I do? There we go, yeah. Cool. See if this just happens to work. Guess not. Oh yeah, close this out. What was I using? Post.node. Boom. Okay, so now we have excerpts. And then Also might be nice to just have like the date on there. So if we open up GraphQL, it's often easier to like play around with data, as you know. Oh, it's right here. So let me kind of spoil the. So right here you can see the 3 posts. Hello world, new beginnings. My second post, and the date right now is just so Gatsby kind of normalizes dates into ISO 8601. But date fields, it also recognizes like when you've entered a date somewhere, and it kind of enhances it so that you can then add like a format string, which I actually did just a bit ago. So we'll just use that. So anyways, you can add like a format string like that. So then if you run that, we have more, user-friendly formatted string. So let's just copy that over to our query. Then where should we add it? We'll just add it below the header. Do good old small. Post that node.front matter.dates. Okay. And then boom. So there you go. So yeah, so that's kind of how Gatsby works. And what's cool is that people are writing plugins for all sorts of different data sources and data transformations. If we go to like the plugins page down here, there's already like sources for Contentful, which is like a headless CMS, Drupal, the file system which we've been using, Hacker News, MongoDB, WordPress. I know there's several others that are like kind of in progress that different people are working on and so forth. There's also like transformers for code comments, for JSON, images. I didn't show you images, but you can actually like query for like resize the images and it like create the thumbnails for you, and then pull that back in. But yeah, that's GraphQL and Gatsby. Cool. Any more questions? Yeah. Did you actually use bundle and deploy for an actual live GraphQL server running on? No, yeah. So it's all done at build time. Yeah. So like as you're clicking around, it's just behind the scenes pulling in, little 2 kilobyte, 5 kilobyte, 10 kilobyte JSON bundles. So yeah. Other questions?